Gosh, it's kind of dark in here. Lumos. Hey, what's up? I'm a Wizard Troy, and you are watching Troy Reads, my booktube channel, and welcome back to another video. As you guys probably noticed, this is a Monday, so yes, I'm starting back my Monday, Wednesday, Saturday schedule, and I'm so excited about it. I'm posting 3 times a week instead of 2. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a Harry Potter full series review, which is going to be so fun. I'm going to go through every single book. So to avoid spoiling anyone, here's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to talk about the first book in no spoilers whatsoever, so that if you've never read the series, you can learn about what the series is about without getting spoiled. But if you haven't read the second book, the third book, or whatever, then you can click off. I'm going to have timestamps of every single book. So for example, if you have only read the first book, after I'm done talking about the first book, you can click the last timestamp for the general thoughts, which is non-spoiler. You just click on the general thoughts and then it'll skip you to that part of the video. So yeah, just kind of watch for whatever books you read, and then you can just skip to the end. Or if you've read the whole series, you can have no problem, and you can watch the whole video. Basically, I'm just gonna go through every single book, and then I'll general thoughts, non-spoiler general thoughts at the end, so you can just skip to the end, if that makes any sense. So yeah, it's a confusing kind of thing, but I'm so excited to go through every single Harry Potter book because it has been a journey. It's been an emotional, traumatic journey. By the end of the series, I was just crying. So I'm so excited to dive deep into each book. I have more thoughts for some books than the others. I think I have more thoughts as it comes to the end of the series. I think that's it. So yeah, make sure you like this video. We're trying to get to 70, 75 likes if we can. Hype up this new Monday upload schedule, and you can comment down below hi or anything. I love that. And make sure you subscribe to my channel because we're getting to 1,000 subscribers soon, so definitely do that. But yeah, I don't want to waste any time because this video is going to be very long, so let's jump right into the video. Okay, let's start off this review with the first book, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Remember, I'm not doing spoilers for this book, so let's just kind of dive in. As you know, Harry Potter is this young 11-year-old boy who's living miserably and is getting treated very harshly by his Aunt Petunia and his Uncle Vernon. He lives with them and does a lot of chores for them and just kind of has a really miserable life living in a cupboard because his parents died when he was very young, or so he thought. Because when he's 11, a whole bunch of letters arrive, and he soon realizes that he's a wizard and that his parents died by magical means when he was a baby, and they were actually killed by this wizard named Voldemort. And now Harry's life is suddenly uprooted as he is invited to attend a magical school called Hogwarts, where all kinds of the wizards and witches unite and learn all about magic. And so of course he accepts and goes there, and also when he's there, he has to stop a mystery involving the deaths of his parents, and also stop this evil from gaining the Sorcerer's Stone. And so this book was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I loved how it was an introduction to the world. I think just the way kind of J.K. Rowling wrote this is we're introduced to the world, we're learning stuff as Harry Potter is, and it's kind of almost like we are a Hogwarts student. And I just really loved how magical everything was, and just the fun of the wizarding community. It's not really any dark magic explored in the first book, and it's all just kind of light and fun, and kind of more whimsical magic, turning a toad into a teapot or something, in Transfiguration. And I think Hogwarts itself is such a fun setting, and really fun to read from, and it's also just so cozy. This book has this really kind of New England vibe to it that I really enjoy, and it's magical and fun. And there's also this dark mystery kind of conspiring underneath them as they try to find out, who is this intruder that's trying to break into Hogwarts, and just kind of Harry Potter uncovering his past. I also really like the 3 main characters of this book, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. This friendship is just amazing, and it's so cool how it evolves throughout the series and up into the last book. These 3 are definitely a realistic friendship. It's not all sparkles and sunshine all the time. There's definitely times where they're having arguments or having fights and stuff, but I like how the friendship is so real, and it's just, down to earth. And I really enjoy seeing each kind of one's personalities because they're drastically different. Ron and Hermione are always constantly at each other, and Harry is definitely very different from all of them. And I just like how they kind of take on the challenges together. That's really amazing. Okay, I also like how this book is really quick. I think it's only 310 pages or something. It's very quick, down to the earth, to the point. It's definitely not one of those really long and detailed books this one over here, which is 850 pages. This is a lot for a book. So I really enjoyed just how quick this was. It's a quick quick read, and I really appreciated like that I didn't need to take hours to finish it. But at the same time, I also didn't like how quick it was, because I like how the other books were so rich and kind of detailed, and I really liked that. And I also liked kind of the foreshadowing that J.K. Rowling put through this book, kind of like a murder mystery, how there's like this one evil person at the end and you kind of have to like guess on who it is. And I just really like the foreshadowing, and how there's like this anti-climax, or like kind of like the killer or whatever was like the least one you'd expect. And so I just really enjoyed kind of like the whole mystery of this book, and it was just so good. The magic was fun, the characters were amazing, the world itself was beyond phenomenal, and you guys just have to check out this book if you haven't already. But yeah, this is all I'm going to say about the series in a non-spoiler format. And now let's jump onto the second book. So again, if you have not read the second book yet, please skip over to the general information slide or timestamp, whatever. But yeah, now we're gonna get into the second book. All right, next up in the Harry Potter series is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. And this is probably one of my least favorites out of the series. I still kind of enjoyed it, but to me, which might seem a little pathetic, I just kind of thought it was a little bit scary. But let me kind of first tell you what this book is about. So this book, Harry Potter is returning for the second time, and in this book, this strange house elf that comes to Harry Potter and warns him that there's something very dangerous coming to the school. And all throughout the school year, there are people being kind of like murdered or petrified and by stone, and there's all these kind of weird things, like the Chamber of Secrets is opening, and there's like this weird conspiracy of this heir to Slytherin, and there's just like this weird murderer kind of like walking around and killing everyone. And so the book is definitely kind of like another murder mystery. A lot of Harry Potter books kind of have that feel to them. But yeah, this book was kind of scary with like all the snakes and the spiders and stuff, but I also really enjoyed it as well, because it was also like a really fun mystery like the first one, like figuring out the clues, and at the end like Harry racing to, you know, find the murderer, because he finds out like everything and finds out, you know, what happened and stuff. And I also really like kind of the aspect how this book plays into other books too. Okay, I'm just gonna talk about spoilers because I can't really hold this in anymore. Like, I really like the way Voldemort kind of possessed Ginny in a way, and also kind of just like the snakes and everything. It was really fun, but also really scary again, like the snakes, the spiders. That's really all I have to say about this book. I really don't have that much to say. I just don't think it's like that all that amazing. Okay, so that's really all I got. It's kind of scary. It's a fun murder mystery kind of deal, and I love how this book impacts things, and the whole evil aspect of this book was really cool. So now let's jump into the third book. Alright, the next book is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling, and this book is all about Harry and Sirius Black, where Sirius Black is on the run. He escapes from the prison, the wizarding prison of Azkaban, and is trying to hunt down Harry, because in the prison of Azkaban, he was known to like be saying stuff like, he's at Hogwarts, he's at Hogwarts. So Harry goes into the school year knowing that someone's after him, and it basically kind of like creates this really good tension, and this is basically what the story is about. And spoiler alert, at the end, we find that Sirius is actually Harry's godfather and was one of his father's friends or something. And so it was just like a really interesting dynamic, and I really like the suspense and tension of like always being like kind of nervous that Sirius was going to, you know, kill Harry, I guess. So yeah, it was really, really fun book. It was one of my favorites. I really liked some of the aspects, like the time turner with Hermione. I also really liked fortune telling thing, or like the, what's it called? The divination. I really liked that aspect where it was kind of like foreshadowing the future. I also really liked the story between the hippogriff and like Hagrid. I also really liked, again, the whole suspense thing going on with Harry and Sirius, and kind of throughout the book getting even more mysterious as Sirius breaks out of Azkaban and, you know, starts invading Hogwarts and stuff. And it's just like a really interesting mystery with like the Marauder's map and stuff, and Hogsmeade, and kind of just like figuring out what the heck happened in the past. And Harry's just kind of like figuring out like the relationship between his dad and his friends and all the animagus stuff. I really, really enjoyed this book. Again, it has a lot of tension. It was so powerful, and I really enjoyed this book because it really set this series up for like big things in the future, like you know, the relationship between the four friends of James, and like, I'm not gonna say much, but yeah, like I just think this like really set up a lot for the rest of the series. All right, let's get on to the next book. All right, next up we've got Goblet of Fire, which is the fourth book in the Harry Potter series, and this is probably one of my favorites. It might be my favorite. It's kind of close. I just don't know, but this was really one of my favorites. To refresh you guys on what this book is about, Voldemort is beginning to revive himself, and Harry Potter goes to Hogwarts, where there's basically this big competition going on called the Tri-Wizarding Tournament, and Harry somehow someone enters him into the competition, and now he has to try and defeat 3 tasks to win the tournament. And also, again, Voldemort is rising, and there's this whole mystery behind that. And so this was a really, really great book. I really liked how this started turning into like an older series. Like this kind of like transitioned like from the middle grade to the YA feel of it, because I think like the first few books are like middle grade, and then the last few books are young adult. I think this was the transition book because Harry Potter finally like ages himself and like starts hitting puberty, and he starts seeing some changes in like the way he perceives girls and like just his kind of like awkward phase. And it was really interesting to see, and I really like the tasks like in the Triwizarding Tournament. This really made that book for me. I feel like it was just so fun to see how he completed the tasks and what the tasks even were. Also manages this Voldemort conspiracy with like his scar hurting. Like he manages to balance everything so perfectly. And again, Hogwarts is really cool, and in this book we get to see like more wizards, like more international wizards from other schools and from other countries, which I really like how they kind of expanded upon that. Like J.K. Rowling did a really great job with this book, and just to kind of like see how the characters kind of grew and developed in this book. And you know, Ron grew and developed in this book. I have like one character like in this little pop thing, and I just put it like on top of my orange book. But anyways, but yeah, I really enjoyed this book. It was such worth the read, and I really like how this was kind of like a step back from all like the Voldemort conspiracy stuff, like from the 5th, 6th, and 7th books. This was a little bit more laid back and was just about the tournament and more about Hogwarts and like discovering all the secrets within, which I really liked. And again, Hermione with the spew thing, which I really liked. So yeah, okay, that wraps up my thoughts for this book. Let's get on to the next one. All right, the next book that we're going to talk about is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which is kind of like the most controversial book. I mean, I'm not gonna say controversial, but like kind of has like most mixed opinions for me, and also like, a lot of people also have these feelings. So I'm gonna dive deep into them. But first, just a little refresher, this book basically takes place right after Goblet of Fire, where Voldemort has now, you know, arisen, starting to kind of try to like raise himself in power, and now the Ministry is kind of trying to hide it. Like, you know, Voldemort has risen, but the Ministry don't want to believe it, and so they're trying to hide it, and like they're trying to make Harry seem like a fool. And the Order of the Phoenix also kind of, you know, builds up back up again, and Harry is having all these like kind of strange dreams about this magical hallway, and Voldemort is trying to kind of like get into Harry's head. This year they're also taking the owl, so I hope that kind of refreshed you a little bit. This was a crazy book, and it's kind of hard to summarize into 850 pages, but this is also the book of Dolores Umbridge and her reign on Hogwarts, which was really fun to see. And this book was just a total beast. It was 850 pages, and it's the longest book. It is something you really have to fight to get through, but I really enjoyed it actually, and I think this is actually one of my favorite books. I originally thought it was so slow, so boring, and I could not get through this book. Like every single time I reread it for the first time, I read this like series so many times, I just could not get past the 5th book. I'm so excited that I got to finish this again, because I'm actually have a very, you know, changed opinion on this, because I really enjoyed Dolores Umbridge's character and how she kind of played a role in Hogwarts. I feel like her kind of like villainous character was so fun to read about, and she just had this kind of really negative effect on Hogwarts. But just seeing her kind of like issue all these decrees, and with like the Ministry of Magic kind of acting up and like forcing Harry to be this weird person, and like it was just like a really strange book, and I really enjoyed it so much. And I think actually like the thing that a lot of people say like, oh, it's slow and long and boring, I actually really enjoyed it this time, because the series is so rich, Hogwarts is so rich, and the series is so full of fun magic, and it's like I want more. And so this book was really providing me with it, with just like so many details, so many unneeded details, so many long conversations, long stretches of, you know, days, and I really liked kind of that feel, that slow feel to it, and it just kind of made it like a lot more cozy to me, and I really enjoyed that. And then I also really enjoyed kind of like Harry getting closer to Sirius, and kind of like the whole Order of the Phoenix thing, you know, more action upon like Voldemort and kind of like stopping him, because like a lot of the other books were kind of like Harry alone, but now having like this whole kind of like order behind Harry, not behind Harry, but like with Harry, working with Harry, also kind of made it a really cool like perspective, I guess, if that makes any sense. And just having like the whole like Grimwald, I don't even know how to say, Grimwald department and stuff was really fun to read about. I really liked like the beginning where like they were just at the headquarters for the Order of the Phoenix, you know, they were just chilling, like cleaning all the bathrooms and stuff, trying to learn more about what Voldemort is doing and what they're trying to do to stop it, and like the magical weapon and stuff. And I also really enjoyed with this book kind of like the occlumency and the legitimacy, I said that at this, but I really like kind of like the mind aspect of it, where like Voldemort was kind of invading Harry's mind. I thought that was just a really unique aspect, and I really liked the ending where they went to the Ministry of Magic, and oh my gosh, spoiler if you have not read this, but Sirius's death killed me. This was probably the saddest death, besides the one in book 6 I want to talk about. But Sirius's death was so sad for me because he was just such a role model and great godfather for Harry, and I was like, oh no, he doesn't. I just couldn't believe it. Like, I forgot that part when I reread it, and I was like, oh my gosh, you have to be kidding me, he died. And so I was crazy. It was so emotional, and I just really like the last scene. It's kind of like the realistic part to it, because, you know, people have to die, and that's just how a series went. And it was a really fun book. I really enjoyed it. Probably went from like a 3 stars for me to a 5 stars. Like, this book is probably one of my favorites actually, and I just think the series is getting better as it's going on. So yeah, let's get on to the next book. Okay, so the next book is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, which is kind of like a transition book, but a very perfectly and like really well thought out transition book, because I feel like in this book, okay, I'll talk about this after I explain the book, but yeah, I feel like this was like kind of like setting up for the last book, which I really enjoyed. But this book is basically all about the Half-Blood Prince, where Harry Potter goes to Hogwarts, and again, Voldemort is rising and starting to kind of wreak chaos in everyone, and also Malfoy, you know, is quested to do this very evil thing by Voldemort himself, and Snape makes this unbreakable like vow to help Malfoy. And then Harry Potter is kind of investigating this Malfoy case, as well as trying to struggle through the newts, and he basically has this invincibility cloak. Wait, what am I saying? And he basically has this Half-Blood Prince. He finds this book by the Half-Blood Prince, which we later find out to be, I'm not gonna say anything, but I mean, if you guys read this, you know. But yeah, we find this Half-Blood Prince book where he has all of these potions, like ingredients and stuff, and it basically just really helps him with his potions homework. And so he gets on very well with the new potions teacher, and basically it's just kind of like a really fun book investigating the evils of Malfoy and Snape, as well as, you know, struggling through school, and also some romance starts like kind of starting a little bit more. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and I thought it had like almost 0 flaws to it. It was a perfect book. It was quick. It was as long as I would have wanted. Like, I feel like the 5th book and the 7th book were kind of long, and even the 4th book, I feel like this was the perfect length. Like, 650 pages is perfect. I felt like it was the perfect amount. I felt like it was equally amount of quick and long, and I feel like it had some really great elements to the end, like learning about Voldemort. Like, this book was full of, you know, learning about Voldemort, which is like the whole premise of this, like learning about Voldemort's past to help him in the 7th book. And, you know, Harry Potter's questioning why it's important, but like, it's just another book that's setting up for the last book. Like, I feel the 5th and the 6th books are really setting up for that last book, and I just really enjoyed that. Kind of learning about the ultimate mission to defeat Voldemort, preparing for that with these lessons from Dumbledore, and just kind of exploring things a little bit more was really fun. My kind of biggest annoyance, kind of pet peeve, or like thing with this book that I just really didn't enjoy was the romance. Like, I feel like J.K. Rowling just wrote it in such a non-realistic way. Like, every single romance was just so poorly written, especially the one with like Ron and Lavender, and just like basically every romance. Like, even in the 5th and 4th and 6th books, like, it was just so unrealistic. I just describes it as snogging, eating each other's faces all the time, and there's like no romance behind it. I just don't get that. Like, she just describes like teenage romances as literally just kissing all the time, and I mean, I guess that's kind of true like today, but I just don't think like back when she was writing that, like, that wasn't really like realistic. Like, I feel like a lot of relationships also involve like going on dates and talking and like just like loving each other, not just like kissing all the time. And it just felt like she kind of wrote this in a way that they're just kissing and kissing and kissing all day, every single day. It just didn't seem like realistic to me, and I like had this whole big masterful rant with my brother about this. But yeah, basically I just didn't think it was realistic. But other than that, which was my biggest pet peeve, I really enjoyed it. Again, learning about Voldemort's past was really cool. Setting up the ultimate quest to defeat Voldemort in the last book was really fun, and like just kind of living out the school life a little bit more. Like, really enjoyed this book. It was probably one of my favorites. Again, I really like the later books, and I cannot wait to talk about number 7, so let's do it, because number 7 was a freaking emotional journey. Oh, speaking of emotional journeys, Dumbledore. Oh my gosh, the death at the end, I swear, was so sad, so emotional. Like, that really hit me. I knew he was gonna die because I got spoiled for that, but I was totally not prepared for it, and wow, like the funeral and everything, like, wow. But again, number 7, we learned something about Dumbledore's death that like totally made me a little bit more happy, and Dumbledore, just, I love you, man. Okay, let's get to the next book. All right, the last and final book is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, and I'm going to go full spoiler spoiler on this, so if you're still watching, like, just please get off because I'm gonna go so deep into spoilers. But this book, the final book, was really, really great. The one thing I will say, of course, is that this book is not taking place at Hogwarts. This book is kind of Harry's and Ron's and Hermione's. They kind of team up to defeat Voldemort by destroying the Horcruxes. So finding the 3 Horcruxes and finding something that can kill each Horcrux, and also defeating Voldemort at last, and kind of learning about the Deathly Hallows and how they have like an impact on the story. So this was a really fun story. I really liked kind of how it branched off from Hogwarts a little bit. I really still kind of miss the Hogwarts in the last book, but I mean, we do have the Hogwarts kind of big scene at the end. It's just a huge, humongous, like, last 200 pages of the book were all Hogwarts. Whole big battle, fighting for Hogwarts and fighting for justice and stuff with Voldemort. But I did also like how they kind of branched off and kind of went to different, like, wizarding communities, and like we're trying to like defeat the Horcruxes. And I really liked that scene where like Luna Lovegood's dad to like find more about the Deathly Hallows, and it was just really good. And I really liked how they were constantly being chased by the Death Eaters. That created a lot of tension in this book that I really, really enjoyed. Like, constantly being afraid to say Voldemort's name or like to leave. They have to always be under the invincibility cloak. And it's also like really crazy to kind of see like that last part where like Voldemort is trying to search for the Horcruxes right as Harry and Hermione's doing. It's like, it was crazy, and just kind of like trying to find the Horcruxes, because it was a very slow start for this book. And I was like, are they gonna even be able to like defeat Voldemort? Are they even be able to defeat all the Horcruxes? Because they're not going at a fast enough pace to defeat the Horcruxes. But like, they did it, and it was crazy. And this book was so emotional too, like, just had so many deaths in it. But it was just really crazy and really emotional. And like that last scene where Harry is just like walking to his death, and then like the whole last scene basically was crazy, and Harry just got that justice and triumph. And this series is just so well written, and like, I don't know, I just think this whole thing was so clever. And I also want to say for this book that I thought Ron was so annoying. Like, gosh, he's always like being so frustrated at everything and like taking things like way out of proportion. So I didn't like that about him. But like Hermione and Ron, you know, they started to have a relationship at the end, and then Harry and Ginny, they got all that they wanted. Okay, well, my main critique about this book is I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. But I wished the ending was a little bit more kind of like resolved. I feel like she left it very open, and I just want to see more of like how everything was impacted. We didn't really get to hear much from like the Weasley family after, except for Ron, and we just didn't really get to see how everyone was feeling and like revisit some of these old characters and like just wrap it up in a good way, like a feast where he gets to talk to everyone or something. Like, I feel like there could have been a better ending, because I just felt so like I didn't feel very satisfied with the ending, and like I want more. But maybe J.K. Rowling is setting us up for an 8th book, I don't know. Yeah, I really liked how rich this book was, how creative it was, just like kind of like the wild goose chase it was, this adventure. And I don't know, J.K. Rowling is such a great author, and I loved it. Especially loved the last, from 580 to like 760, like that last almost 200 pages. Oh, also like how Snape was like for Harry, like that part like almost made me cry. Like how Snape was always supporting Harry, even though like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry right now. That was so crazy to see, like how Snape was protecting him the whole time, and Dumbledore like arranged that death. Like okay, I'm gonna cry. I can't stop it. Whew. Okay, anyways, this book was probably one of the best. Again, I'm probably gonna have to do a ranking video for this because I just don't know, but like, oh, this is a great book. But now let's go into the general Harry Potter stuff. Just my final thoughts on the series. All right, so I want to do like a final kind of non-spoiler reflection on this series just for the last few minutes, and then we'll end this video because dang, this has been a long time recording. So yeah, I just want to quickly kind of like wrap up. So like the first thing I really want to mention is I really enjoyed the series, the Harry, Ron, and Hermione friendship. But I really liked that friendship and how it grew and developed throughout this series. Like, they started out as totally different people, like just sitting on a train, and they somehow like just managed to find each other, and now they were like best friends. And it was so crazy to see how everything developed in the series, how they had their big arguments, and how like sometimes they kind of like broke off their friendship and then kind of reformed it. And I just think them as the three were like so solid, and they're all so brave, and like just their characters, they were amazing people to read from. And I really enjoyed it. Like, you know, Harry was a really cool person, Hermione was a really cool person, and Ron was a terrible person. I just did not like his character, but it was just really cool to see how the three developed. Also, again, I'm gonna say this like in every single time I talk about Harry Potter, but Hogwarts is so magical. It is just such a great place to read. It's so cozy. Everyone wishes they could be there, and just like the fun and whimsical feel to it, and just like how much light there is for Harry there. I just really enjoyed that feel to it. And then lastly, just like the big conspiracies and the plot twists and just everything with like Voldemort and like all the evil in the world, and how like Harry was kind of lied to in his heritage, and like he has to find everything out like when he's a teenager, and so he's just unlocking all these crazy secrets, and like he's being told all these kinds of crazy things. And finally, when the series ends, we find out everything about his past and like everything that just fits this giant puzzle. And this was just such an emotional journey for me, like uncovering all these secrets, people dying, and like it was just such a powerful series, and I really enjoyed it. It was beyond amazing. So I think that wraps up this video. This was kind of a longer one. I really didn't expect this to be as long as it was recording, but I took 2 days to film this. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and leave a like if you like Harry Potter. That would really mean a lot to me, because liking is probably the best way you can support me, and I just love seeing your likes. It always makes me so happy. And make sure to comment down below, what do you think of Harry Potter? How many books have you read? What are your thoughts? Like, let's do this. Let's have a good Harry Potter discussion, because I really need that on a Monday night. And make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That's really important, because we're trying to get to 1,000 mangoes. You guys are the best, and I really appreciate all your support. You guys are literally like my family, and I love you guys so much. And share this video with a friend. That really does help to support me. And share this like with someone that doesn't know about my channel, so that they can subscribe, and that we can be getting to 1,000 subscribers even quicker. Check out my last video up there for my first sentence challenge. It was a really fun video that I did, where it was like I was trying to guess books based on their first sentence, like how my brother like read out a list of first sentences, and then I could just rip it open and like find out which book it was. And it was just a really fun guessing game, and it was probably one of my favorite videos that I've ever filmed, so definitely check that out. But that's all I got for you guys. I love you so much. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and watching the whole way through, or like watching, you know, the parts that you could. But yeah, I love you guys so much. You guys are the best, and I will see you on Wednesday for my next video. Love you guys so much. Bye.